Defense isn't as hard as you're making it out to be in Madden 26. All you need to do is tighten up on the 5 elite defensive tips I'm sharing with this video, and I guarantee you'll start locking down. I just showed them to this player, and he won a $2,000 money game instantly, so I know the same thing can happen for you. Let's jump right into it. The first thing you're going to need to master on defense is actually making sure you have the right settings equipped. You literally can't win without them because your zones won't work or your defense will come out misaligned. Let me show you the best ones to use right now. Alright, so when we talk about the best defensive settings, there's a couple things that are actually really important here. So we're going to come to our coaching adjustments, right, by pressing RS or R3, right, depending on the console that you're on. But these first three settings, auto flip, cornerback matchups, and defense and motion response, these need to be on, balance, disabled. Alright, the reason why, auto flip ensures your slot corner is going to come out on the correct side as a slot receiver every time. Alright, this is going to help, when you want to run cover 3 cloud, when you run any type of even man coverage, zone coverage defense, you want to make sure, there's a reason slot receiver, slot corner, they need to be matched up on each other, all right? Cornerback matchups, make sure this is on balance. You never want your guys to misalign and crisscross when the offense no huddles. Same thing with defensive motion response. You don't need your zone defenders following receivers across the formation, when they use cheat motion from like Bunch Nasty, for example, all right? So make sure that's disabled. Now we're going to switch down to RPO pass key. This is kind of a good setting. It really doesn't do a whole lot for you, so I would just recommend it be on conservative. Against RPOs, it's going to help your guys, not look in the backfield a little bit more consistently and instead focus on pass coverage, all right? Now, and what everyone wants to know, zone drops, what do I set these to, all right? These are going to depend on the situation that you're in. Some common use cases are if you just want to set them and forget them, you don't actually need to adjust any of these. You need to just put your crowbots on 5, keep it moving, your coverage is going to be fine. There's times where you might want to defend corner routes, deeper routes with 20 or 25 yard flats, end of game situation, and then there's times where you might not like how your hooks are playing, so you might move those to 5 or 10. But also if you're going to run match coverage indicated by a play with a purple icon, and you need to master and understand and listen to this, right? If it has this purple match indicator, that means it's a match coverage based play, and in order for it to work correctly, you need to make sure all 3 of these are on default. But for the most part, I would say maybe 70% of the game, I just use default 5 default, right? Safety depth, close safety with pinch, kind of what we know about. Unless you have super slow safeties compared to their receivers, then you might just want to back your guys up just so that you're not getting ran by over the top. But as an illustration, if you use cornerback matchups on by speed, which is what so many people for some reason want to use, this could be what your defense looks like, where it's going to be all crisscross because these guys are trying to realign based on whatever you have it set to. Right, so if you have it set to by speed, they could just realign based on speed. But it could be where everyone's across the field from the guy that they need to be on, and so now your defense obviously looks like this, and if they just call a regular play like verticals, they're just going to have a wide open pass down the field for an easy touchdown. So really making sure those alignment settings are, really set correctly and are in the right spot. But also, we would like to be able to use safety depth and close for sure. If you have the right safeties, because you can just see how we throw that pass, it's going to get broken up because our safety on that side, Harrison Smith, is a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. So, all the settings are important, all the coaching adjustments are important, but you really need to master those ones that I really broke down and put an emphasis on, because they're going to make sure not only do your zones line up in the right spots and your man coverage defenders, but also that they're actually playing correctly. But those are the best defense settings you need to be using. Alright, everyone loves to focus on glitch blitzes and pass defense, but if you can't stop the run, no one's even going to pass the ball on you. Let me show you the best way to stop the run right now in Madden 26. Alright, so there's honestly 2 pretty good techniques here for stopping the run, and you just should use whichever one of these 2 you think is the easiest for you. Alright, I would say the most consistent and universal way is the first one I'm going to show you here, is going to be called gap shooting, is what we call it, right? So all you need to make sure you're doing is standing about 4 yards over the guard on the halfback side. So this is inside zone that goes from right to left. So I'm going to stand right here over the right guard, and I'm going to try to loop around to the left side and meet this ball carrier at the point of attack. All right. So you're going to see I'm going to loop around, and I'm just going to dive. Now I'm holding 2 controllers, but in game this is going to be a whole lot easier for you, just because, I mean, it does take practice, don't get it wrong, but when you're able to dive and you have heat seeker assist turned on, it's going to make it a whole lot easier for you to make those. So again, I'm going to try to do it again right here, and you're able to see I'm able to cut out the legs of that ball carrier and trip him up, slow him down. But I'm getting a Superman dive, so basically the linemen aren't able to block me. I'm just kind of diving through them. The problem I see with a lot of you guys is you think that this is going to stop the run if you just stand directly over the center. The guard, I mean, he's just going to, oh well, that time he does, someone else runs in free, but your user's not going to come in free when you do that, right? Excuse me, your user is just going to get blocked by that center, and now that lane is wide open right there. So that's what's going to happen time and time again when you just try to stand too close to the line of scrimmage, versus if you just take this man right here, stand 4 yards over the guard on the halfback side, you loop around, and then you just try to dive through. Like right there, you see how I trip him up, force him to hurdle into somebody. A lot of the time also, though, you're going to just be able to tackle the ball carrier in the backfield. Editor, play the clip that I sent you of my gap shoot in a game, and so you're able to see it's just like that. It's a whole lot easier. Well, I'm not holding two controllers here, but it's like you're just trying to, as soon as the quarterback touches the ball, that's when you go, and perfect right there. A great example. As soon as the quarterback touches the ball, you go, you press X on Xbox, square on PlayStation to get that dive tackle, and now you're just able to see I'm able to cut the ball carrier's legs out before he even has a chance to speed boost, before any other defenders have or offensive players, excuse me, have a chance to block me. So that's gap shooting, but and again, that takes practice, not something that you're probably going to be able to do in one sitting, right? That's going to take, reps, weeks, or days, weeks to practice and get better with and get a better feel for it. But like I said, it's probably the most consistent way. But this is really just a quick way to stop the run, right? You're coming in mid blitz. This is, very consistent. It's going to happen every time. But all you're going to do, you're going to notice how the offensive line block targeting. Look at this. There's two flame icons over the top of those corners and safeties on that right side. But as soon as I move right here over the center, now there's a flame icon over the top of this lineman, right? Or excuse me, of my linebacker, which means if I just run down, he's just going to run in free. So that's why I say, and that's going to happen like 10 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100 pretty much. So this is like the most easy way, I guess, that you could say. But the problem really could be if you're not comfortable playing pass defense from this, but that could be the issue. But it's like, this is very great run defense anyway, right? Same thing, time and time again. You're going to get the attention of the center, and from double mug, mid blitz, you're just going to get a guy to run in free every single time. And there's really nothing that they can do about this. If they call any inside run, this is going to happen. It's not even like they can really take the flame icon off of this man, which the flame icon tells the line who to let come in free. They can't really take the flame icon off of this guy. So you're just going to see it, boom, let's see, take the snap. Also, you could click on to the man and dive tackle or conservative tackle the guy instead of letting the computer make the tackle. But those are two pretty good run defenses. The first just gap shooting, and then actually running mid blitz to get the offensive line to retarget, and that lets one of your guys come in free. Alright, if you enjoyed those first two defensive tips, they don't even compare to what I have for you in the rest of the video, so make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. You're not going to miss out on what I have for you later in the video. But if you want this entire video, all of the tips in written form to save on your phone during gameplay, and you want exclusive access to me in Discord, go to the link down below in the pinned comment, or comment the word VOLT. I'll send you the link to join Madden University, where you're going to get your first month of written breakdowns and Discord access for only $1. Please, don't let $1 be the reason you're still struggling to win games here in Madden 26 when I'm giving you my full access to my tips in written form for you to save on your phone when you're playing. Make sure you join now, and let's jump right back into the video. Alright, next I'm going to show you an insane defense that you've probably never seen before that's going to allow you to lock down trip formations and confuse players that run trips. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so ideally you'd like to be able to do this from a dime or a dollar defense. Dime 2-3 Sam is a great example of this, but essentially you're just going to be cross-manning their guys. So what you're going to do is you're going to user this safety right here. I would also probably shift my linebackers over here to the left just to match their trips. Right, and so what you're going to see is you're going to man your top safety onto their outside receiver just like this. You're going to man your X linebacker right here onto their inside receiver, and then you're going to man your A linebacker onto their slot receiver right here. So essentially, everyone's cross-manned, and then you're going to man probably your slot corner right here onto their their tight end, right? And then you can really just put 2 flats out here. So you could put a cloud flat, and now you have a cloud flat on both sides. Or if you want to put an outside third right here on this guy, you can do that. But essentially, you have a slot corner blitz off of one side, and then you're just going to have everyone cross man be able to disguise your defense. So, like if they call it play like verticals, which is going to be really great against cover 2 or cover 3, well, now everyone's just going to be in man coverage, everyone's cross man, everyone's just going to be guarded. So it's just a great coverage shell to be able to throw at people, depending, or especially trips users when they decide to go to trips, just because this isn't necessarily something you're going to sit in, but it's a great coverage shell to throw them off because they're expecting zone coverage, but instead they're going to end up getting man coverage from a zone coverage look. So again, set it up. That's why I talk about quick adjustments so much for you guys in previous defensive breakdowns. Or no, I think I'm going to talk about it in this video, right? So being able to make adjustments actually is very important because this takes a lot of adjustments. So, right, you're going to set it up just like this. I mean, I can do it very quickly, right? And then now you just have the defense set up, and you're going to see, boom, or there we go. Now I have the defense set up. So really that's why checking it pre-play important here. But also, I mean, some of these other adjustments, as long as you get the man coverage off, you're fine. As far as all the other zones that are on the field as well, that's just a kind of extra. But you're going to see how, even if they call a different route concept, a little bit of a better play here, they're going to call, let's just say, slant post, right? Now you have, not only do you have your user still in the middle of the field, but everyone's just going to be cross man. So boom, I'm going to take this. You see how my slot corner does a great job of taking away that post as it runs over the top, and essentially you're just giving them man coverage. You can also route commit as well, depending on if you have time to make those adjustments. But it's like, this man flying from all the way over here, he's going to do a great job taking this away. There's no longer a whole shot against cover 2 because now here's the Smith's actually manned up onto him, right? So then you're also able to see this corner out here really does a great job of bracketing this and taking away this slant, along with us being able to take away this post route. So really just a great defense to throw them off, right? Because if I go through it one last time here, what you're going to see is, boom, we're going to set it up the same way. Mastering quick adjustments, getting better with them, very important here. But you're just going to see how now if we just take this snap and try to hike throw this pass, we have our linebacker right there, because he's cross man. He's going to be able to get out there and make that play very routinely and very easily, just because he's just right there to make that play instead of us being in zone coverage. So the cross man coverage shell, the cross man defense, a really great defensive shell to mix in. Like I said, you're not going to sit in that every play, but as long as you can get all the adjustments off, you're going to be able to confuse offensive players who want to run those spread or trip formations by randomly having guys manned up from across the field. Alright, so a reminder before I break down the final 2 tips, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm the only one right now who's breaking down Madden 26 tips and tricks every single day, and you're absolutely not going to miss out on any of the content I have. But let's jump right back into the video. Alright, in that last segment, I talked about quick adjustments and how important they are, but let me actually break down how you can get better with quick adjustments to make defense a whole lot easier. Alright, so quick adjustments really are the name of the game on defense here in Madden 26. You absolutely need to make sure that you're good with this, getting better with this at all times. So really the reason why this is so important is, for example, if you were to run a cover 2 defense against a trips formation, right? So something like this, what you're going to notice is there's going to be a wide open hole right here on the sideline for the offense to just be able to pass lead a ball to the sideline and be able to score an easy gain or easy touchdown just like that, simply because there's too much room. This safety, this is one of the best safeties in the game, Harrison Smith, but he can't cover both of these guys, right? He can't cover this receiver running a fade and then this receiver running an inside breaking fade, right? So you just have a wide open hole in the sideline, and that's really not too uncommon to see that, right? Against other defenses, or excuse me, against other offenses as well. You just might call bad defense, put bad defense on the field, but really the best way to kind of make up for it is by utilizing your quick adjustment game. And so really what that means is you're going to understand 3 button commands in specific. Y twice is going to open all of your secondary adjustments. So in this particular formation, we're in a dime defense, so there's 6 DBs. Obviously nickel defenses have 5 DBs, some formations only have 4, but you're going to notice all 6 of these guys in this formation I can adjust now, right? And so you have 6 buttons, you could click onto one of them, and then it opens their adjustment menu, versus what you're doing right now, click, 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 click. I'm having to click all around randomly, and eventually after like 7 clicks, I get onto the guy that I want to adjust, right? And so it's just a lot faster to do it from one central player. So Y twice is going to be the secondary adjustments, right? D-pad right twice is going to be the linebackers here. So X, A, or Y. Some formations actually have 4 linebackers. This formation has 2, and then some formations have 4 or 5 defensive linemen. This formation has 2, and you can open the D-line adjustments by pressing D-pad left twice. So D-pad left twice opens the defensive line, D-pad right twice opens the linebackers, and then Y twice is going to open the secondary. And from there, now I understand, okay, if I wanted to turn this from a cover 2 to a cover 3, now I just press Y twice, I press X, and then I put my outside corner and an outside third. I press Y twice, then I press LB, I put my top safety in an inside third. I press Y twice, and I press Y for the 3rd time to adjust my slot corner, and I put him in a crow flat. And then you're just able to build that muscle memory of, now I have a cover 3 instead of a cover 2 on that side, and I've set it up a whole lot faster. So if I reset the play and do it at full speed, boom, 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 and like under 2 seconds, the whole defense is set up. And like, that's why people like don't get quick snap. Good defensive players are not going to get quick snap, because they're actually making adjustments very quickly. It all becomes muscle memory. Also, what I would tell you guys is you want to basically remember and start to pick up on the adjustments that you make the most on certain players. So for example, my outside corners, I only put them in outside thirds, hard flats, cloud flats, and I put them in custom zones, right? So I really only need to remember those 4 adjustments after I get clicked onto them, right? Which would be Y twice, then pressing X. And then I would need to remember which button does what. Same thing on the safeties, press Y twice, then press LB. I can put him in any of these assignments. I use D-pad, inside third, hook curl, custom zone. I really use all of these. So I really have to remember all of these besides maybe blitz, right? And so then it's the same thing on the other side with the other safety, pretty much. Same thing on the other side with the other outside corner as the outside corner on the right. So it really just becomes a habit, muscle memory. Again, understanding Y twice is the secondary, D-pad right twice is the linebackers, and D-pad left twice is the defensive line. And really, once you master those 3 commands, you're going to be able to make adjustments a whole lot faster on defense, because you're not having to individually click on the guys. All right, this last defensive tip that I'm going to break down is really the most important part to your pass defense, and so many players struggle with it, which is why you need to make sure you're having a better user. Let me show you how. Alright, so really when we talk about having a good user and having a better user, there's really 2 things. So there's the switch stick, right, which is switching players mid-play, but there's also, which honestly is even more important, the guide that you start the play on. You don't really need to switch stick if you have an elite user. There's players, pro players, they don't switch stick on every single play, right? A lot of plays they do, but there's sometimes where if the offense just doesn't call a great play, you're able to just take that away from one central player without even switching. And so really what I mean by that is, let's just say they call a route concept like this, right? Where they're going to have their tight end on a streak, their running back on an in route, right? This is going to this route concept right here is going to do a great job against this coverage that I'm in, because what you're going to see is if I come down and take away this in route, they can just throw that post in the middle of the field. It's wide open. But really, if I dropped back and defended the post route, it's still, that in route's going to be open. But think about it. Would you rather give up a 4-yard in route or a 30-yard post route? So that's what I mean when I say have a good user. Take away the post as it runs over the top, because it's going to get open, understanding that, and then give up whatever else you have to give up. You need to make sure that you're taking away the deepest route in the field. Obviously, you would like to be able to take away both of the routes, right? And so you could, if you knew it was coming, you could probably just man up the in route, right? And so they call the same route concept, right? You're just going to see how, boom, the in route's going to be guarded, and then I'm able to take away this post, and now we have lockdown defense everywhere. So it's really a simple adjustment, and it's really a thought process that you need to have is when they snap the ball, you need to identify who the deepest threat to your defense is, right? And threat meaning he's going to get open, right? It's not just a guy that, oh, no, this guy is going to get open if you don't guard him with your user. So you need to read the play, because not every play you're going to have perfect defense. And a lot of the time, I would say, you have bad defense on the field, but it becomes good defense when you have a good user. Because again, like I just showed you, right? If we call a route concept like this, right, and so then we man up the running back, but if I have a sleepy user, like I'm standing right here, boom, like this is good defense if I just take away the post, as I just showed you in the previous play. But if you don't take away the post, now it's bad defense. And that's really the adjustment that so many of you guys need to make, is you need to take away the deepest threat for the offense, right? And so sometimes it's like, there's no real deep threat. Sometimes they're just going to call it bad route concept, where they're just not going to have that many deep routes. So maybe sometimes they might call a route concept like this where no one's really attacking deep, but you still need to make sure you're over the middle of the field, and that's something else. You always want to try to stay over the middle, the intermediate to deep middle of the field if you can, but sometimes you're going to need to chase routes, which I'll show you in a second. But you're going to see right here where it's like, okay, if I just use a drag, maybe come back up, baiting routes also helps. So once you take away one route, you know they're not going to throw it, come back around and take away something else. So it's really just a feel, but the bottom line is you need to make sure you're taking away the deepest threat to your defense, right? If you know you're in cover 2 hard flat, right, you know that they could call a route concept something like this. But if you really just do a great job of taking away like the running back, and you just guard this corner route, right? Or maybe you don't know it's a corner route, but you're chasing the corner and you're taking it away, that was bad defense. That's the perfect route concept to be able to attack that defense. But because I have a good user, I make up for it, and I'm able to take everything away. So bottom line, again, here, you need to make sure that you're taking away the deepest threat to your defense, and the only real way to do that is recognizing it after the snap. When they snap the ball, reading their route concept, reading the play, who's the guy that can beat my defense, and I need to make sure I'm following him and taking him away instead of doing what I showed you earlier, which is just standing around doing nothing. So really, even before you master the switch stick on defense, you need to get really good with having a good user, one player taking away the deepest threat on the field. Alright, so if you found any of those 5 defensive tips helpful here in Madden 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one breaking down defensive tips and tricks just like this every single day in Madden 26, and you're absolutely not going to miss out on any of them. But again, if you want this entire video in written form to save on your phone during gameplay, go to the link down below in the pinned comment, or comment the word Vault. I'll send you the link to join Madden University, where you're going to get your first month of all my written breakdowns for only $1, and you're going to get exclusive access to Ask Me Questions in Discord. It's really a no-brainer and the best way to transform your game here in Madden 26, so I recommend you check it out. But if you want to see my full Minnesota Vikings defensive ebook, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.